Is this not the cutest little cactus-carrying llama you've ever seen? Today we're going to begin drawing our very own llama. And here's the first step. When you get your paper today, turn your paper vertically, tall like a building, and on the bottom right corner, write your name in pencil, and on the back, write your class. Near the bottom of our paper, we're going to draw a large, rounded rectangle, and this is going to be the llama's body. Remember, try to draw light until you get it right. Don't worry about making it perfect. Now it's time for the head, drawing a triangle shape near the top right or the top left corner of your paper. At the bottom of the triangle, draw 2 straight lines connecting to the rectangle body, and now we have the llama's neck. After drawing the neck, I decided to kind of fix up the shape of my llama's body near the front. Now our llama's having a hard time standing up, so we need to give it 4 legs using a rectangle shape. I decided to draw the front leg of my llama with an angled line to look like the leg is bending. Now we're ready to add the smaller details of our llama's body. I'm using an oval shape for the tail and 2 triangles for the ears. Because we're seeing the side of our llama, we'll only draw 1 eye and part of the nose. Here's my favorite part. We get to make our llama look unique and different. Drawing a semicircle or half of a circle on your llama's back, your challenge is to create something fun, creative, and maybe even a little silly for your llama to be carrying. Your llama can be carrying an animal, or maybe even a plant, or maybe even some food. We are not going to draw every single detail in pencil. Take a Sharpie and begin to trace your llama. Notice how I did not trace a straight line for the llama's body. I used a zigzag line. Add patterns, details, and even some decorations for your llama. Remember, this is not an ordinary llama. This is a very special llama that's carrying a cactus. To make my llama look a little bit more realistic, I'm drawing small lines inside my llama's body to create some texture of the llama's fur. I did not draw anything in my background because we will be painting it next week. All right, our llama is in desperate need of some color, so let's get our artwork ready to paint. Grab your messy mat and make sure it's underneath your artwork. At your table today, you'll see a water basket with a paintbrush, a towel, a water cup filled halfway, and 2 paint trays. When you're using your brush like a ballerina, make sure you're washing it out carefully and slowly, not going too fast or the water will splash out. Remember, our paints are dry, so we need to wake them up with water. Start a little mini swimming pool to wake up those colors. Make sure you're not dragging or digging your brush into those paint colors, or it's going to hurt the brush. Accidentally mix up a color, no big deal. Carefully, with clean water on your brush, gently wipe it away and cleaning it out. Our brush and paint should always be wet, so you should only use the towel when you're finished painting your artwork. You notice your water is getting super muddy and dirty today. Pick one person from your table to go carefully to the sink and dump it out and refill it halfway with clean water. This is what your water cup should look like. We're going to be using a larger brush today to fill in the background color. Because we're painting a large space, we will not be using a small brush, so we need to be able to control the tippy toes of our brush if we're painting near the spaces of our llama. Use the belly of the brush to paint in a large space. When you're painting close to the llama or part of your drawing, turn your brush tall like a building onto its tippy toes so that you can control where the paint goes. I'm filling in the top half of my background with one color and saving the rest for another color. I'm creating balance with the 2 colors I chose. One is warm and one is cool. Sometimes I find it a little bit easier to outline the edges with paint first and then to go back and use the belly of my brush to fill in the space with paint. If your paint is looking really dark and thick, you can easily spread it out with water. Next week, we will be using a smaller brush to paint in the smaller details of our llama. 2 hands carefully take your painting to the drying rack. End of art, your table should look something like this, even with a clean water cup. If your table is clean and quiet at the end of art, you will get a towel to wipe your hands clean and the table. We're going to be using the same art supplies as last week. Using your brush like a ballerina, gently wake up the colors with water. Because we're painting in smaller details, remember you have to control your brush and where the paint goes. Be careful if wet paint and wet paint are right next to each other. For example, my green started to kind of mix into my orange because both colors were not dry. When 2 wet colors are next to each other, they want to become best friends. We should be able to see your Sharpie details. So if you can't, that means you use too much paint and you need to fix it by spreading it out with water. Finished, carefully with 2 hands, take your painting to the drying rack. Make sure your paint supplies and your water is clean at the end of art. Don't forget, at the end of art, I'm looking for 2 things for your table to show me to get a towel.